I'm very happy to be able to address you in this first meeting of ICANN to take place in Brussels.
For the last week, we've been having a meeting here in Brussels. It's one of the most well-attended meetings.
I've been attending ICANN meetings since 2003, every year, so it's about 3-4 meetings a year. And I've never seen a place with such a beautiful view and environment like this, so it's really in the heart of an European town.
One of the best attended ICANN meetings ever, and we have been having great discussions, although some decisions might not come this week and still be postponed for another ICANN meeting, and that's a pity.
I think that there's been some progress in certain areas, like the program for new GTLDs.
I am in this process since 12 years, and I remember the very first meeting of the new GTLD working group in 1999, and we had the same arguments on the table as we have today.
I think the point with GTLDs is that it's not easy to set up a top-level domain. Technically, administrative, financially, it's a lot of work at multiple levels.
New GTLDs are about names. Okay, what kind of new names will be at the top of the internet? So we've had .com, we've got .eu, we've got .info, and a few other top-level domains. Now we've always known that you could have hundreds, if not thousands, more of those domains, but because of trademark issues primarily, and other kinds of disputes over who has the right to a name, we have been debating how many new TLDs and what new TLDs we should have for many, many years.
Do we need everybody to have their own extension? I don't think so. The internet or the domain name system is not made for that, so it should be limited. And if and a certain entry level of cost would be a good start.
For instance, I personally think the bar $180,000 just the entrance fee, and then to have an annual fee, is too high for a lot of small companies and even for companies from developing countries which cannot afford this. So the risk is, if I can continue with this and just to change it in the next couple of years, that this will even deepen the digital divide and not help to bridge the digital divide.
There's been quite interesting discussions in the field of security to prevent abuses on the net, which is good.
It means that not all is well in the cyber world. That is true. We all know about the problems with phishing, with cyber squatting, with domain grabbing, and so on. So that's true, and that's what a few sessions have been about.
The particular way in which we've arranged things these days, there are weaknesses, but those weaknesses are fixable, but they take a certain amount of redesign.
In order to get greater security in the internet, we need to really tackle it in a number of different ways. One way is at the technology level. The technology was never designed, well, in many cases, not designed with security as part of it. And so we are slowly securing it layer by layer. And DNS is one of those critical layers, and so DNSSEC now provides security there that would have been missing otherwise. But when that's in place, we then move on to the next layer and upwards to tackle all of those.
What we want to put in place is a system that actually supports the end user in giving him a secure connection to the internet, and that is what DNSSEC is all about. When you go somewhere to a site, the system will make sure that actually it's the real site that's in your browser and not some sort of imposter site.
There's more than just that. There's education generally of people as to what is secure behaviour on the internet, what to look out for, what not to look out for. And it goes together with the technology as people understand what is secure technology, what is not secure technology, and make an informed choice to look after themselves. If you or I go to a country that has mosquitoes in it, we think about taking, mosquito protection. We don't wish to catch malaria. People still don't realise that about the internet, that there are those dangers out there, and this is how they protect themselves.
It strikes me a bit strange to take the view that the internet is as a new form of danger.
There is a lot of discussion about cybercrime, e-crime, and all the like. But that, if we are in that kind of session, you would forget that the internet is doing a lot of good for the progress of communities, for the progress of people. So that we should not forget that in the first place.
I think the guys behind .xxx are going to throw a big party. They can apply for porn domain.
I had a discussion with the minister from Saudi Arabia, and he said, okay, now they want to introduce porn to the internet. I think it's clear for, let's say, 95% of the internet user that that's already there.
Porn is a part of the internet, like porn is a part of the world. The .xxx discussion is, should we really put every porn provider on the internet under that suffix, .xxx? I think it would make things clear. .xxx would be porn and vice versa, but I think the porn world will always want to be everywhere else like they're now.
If anybody is promising that XXX will mean that all pornography on the internet is somehow automatically classified and put under XXX, then it's a false argument.
My argument was always that if we would have 5,000 TLDs, nobody would have noticed .xxx. You know, one interesting element that a lot of governmental bureaucrats do not understand how the internet works, and they just, you know, following what the general public says when they say, have this outcry, so we should do something against child porn on the internet. So I fully agree we have to do something, but we have to do the right things and not the wrong things.
Humans are very, very good at some things and very bad at other things. And I come from the position that our job as computer scientists is to understand our customer and to build systems that meet their needs. And in this case, meeting their needs means both easy to use and friendly, and at the same time is safe. I like to do as much engineering as possible in order to avoid having to do any more governance than necessary. That when governance is required, it means that we've run out of good ideas in engineering.
The complexity of the issue is that you cannot separate clearly the technical issues from the political issues. That means technical issues have political implications, and policy, you know, has to understand what the technology is behind this. Insofar, the only way out is the policy model which is explored and practiced by ICANN. That means the multi-stakeholder model.
It is such an innovative institution in both a good sense and a bad sense. Half the time they are innovative in the sense that they're trying to come up with new solutions to new problems. It also means there's a lot of mistakes and confusion and thrashing about.
It's a meeting, huh? You are not in an ER, emergency room, so nobody can get killed. If you make a mistake, somebody will not be happy, but at least it's still alive.
The reason ICANN is interesting and complicated is because it's solving a new problem. We need a global institution. We need some kind of global agreements about how to do this. And I think it's better to do it through a private sector organization that's rooted in the technical community and has civil society representation and business representation, rather than through national governments.
The one difference to the policy model of the last 200 years is this is about a participatory democracy. Our democracy in the last 200 years was more or less a representative democracy. Some people delegated rights, duties and responsibility to somebody else. In the internet this is nearly impossible. The technicians cannot delegate their responsibilities to the politicians and vice versa. Because we still live in a world with national states which have their own sovereignty. But with the internet, you know, this will not go away. But governments have to rethink whether they can continue in traditional way meeting these global challenges, because the internet does not stop on the national border.
The internet is a protocol, and as a protocol, as software, it's non-proprietary. And that's the great thing about why the internet has succeeded, is because it could be, the software could be copied and used by anybody. So in that respect, nobody owns the internet protocol. It is indeed in the public domain. And this is one of the great things about the fact that the U.S. government developed it, and it wasn't a proprietary product. Now, if you talk about the internet, supporting infrastructure of servers and routers and so on, then again, it's distributed. Everybody who has a network owns a piece of the internet. and hopefully no one will ever own a very dominant share of all of those pieces.